You know, if you had caught me about a few years ago, I would have been inclined to believe you. But you know what changed my mind? Women's wrestling. Hear me out. There was a point in time where the women's cards didn't really draw crowds. There were a few standout icons here and there, like China, but not enough people like really making waves to cause people to purchase like large quantities of tickets for pay per view events. At least, not the way that they were doing for the men. Then came the four horsewomen of the apocalypse: Charlotte Flair, Becky the Man Lynch, Bayley, and Mercedes Moné, who at the time was wrestling under the name Sasha Banks. And between them, people like Bianca Belair, Asuka, Naomi, and the newbies right now like Jade Cargill, Timeless Tony Storm, Athena. The women are now just as big as a crowd draw as the men. Now, what the fuck does this have to do with US politics, you might be asking? Especially the office of the president? The office of the president is equal parts popularity contest, a game of tactical strategy, and team building exercise. She has to be popular enough with the people for them to want to have a beer, a slice of pizza with her, maybe a hot dog. Intimidating enough to strike fear in the hearts of foreign opponents, while being graceful and stylish enough to encourage diplomatic affairs to go well and let our allies work with us until our interests are no longer aligned with each other, while also making our enemies question whether or not they want to fuck with us. There's a smidge of project management in there because they also have to be able to manage which tasks are most important to the crowd to keep them on our side. And they've gotta be a master of promotional appearances. And they gotta learn how to talk just enough shit in their speeches to make the crowd go, ooh. And that pretty much sums up how most successful wrestlers are able to draw the crowds that they are. And it's also the reason why, even though wrestling is pretty much just organized acrobatics with the very real threat of injury, people continue to watch glued to their seats because they're interested in the storyline, which also sums up US politics in a nutshell. And based on that, I really think we have a shot at having a woman president, because similar things had to happen before we could have a popular black president. There was a renewed cultural acceptance of blackness that kind of happened right before Barack Obama was able to walk into office. The idea was suddenly not so preposterous. And the same wave is kind of happening right now for women in male-dominated arenas. Now, that's not to say that there's not going to be some serious backlash after she enters the presidency, because you can't tell me Trump ain't the answer to Barack Obama. But this future woman might be the answer to Trump. I hate to see who the answer to her is going to be, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.